So hello everybody, welcome. So this is a short video to help the Wednesday intermediate class to practice the daily flowing sequence that we've been learning this term. So the idea of this sequence is it's something you could practice in about 10 minutes a day, and it combines lots of different elements of yoga: forward folding, back bending, twisting, balancing. Hopefully it's a well-rounded practice. So you should have already learnt this sequence in class. This video is just to help you practice, but do modify the poses if you need to. Listen to your body. Don't push yourself into things that don't feel appropriate for your body. So let's get started. You might want to have a yoga brick. If you don't have a yoga brick, you could use a tin of baked beans. That's a good substitute. Let's get going. So we're going to start in a tabletop position with 5 cat-cow stretches. So taking 5 breaths in each pose. So make your breaths really mindful and steady. Make the most of every breath. Inhaling to lengthen the front of the body, arching the back. Exhaling, lifting the belly button, tucking the tail, tucking the chin, rounding the back. Finding your way back to a neutral tabletop position, tucking over the toes. We're coming into downward facing dog. Remember, you can keep a little bend in the knees if you need to. Walking forwards, we're going to find our way to a standing forward fold. Remember, you could use your bricks if you need, or have a little bend in the knees, whatever feels best for you. Bending the knees, making sure your knees are tracking over your middle 2 toes, not coming out to the sides. Lifting up, using the strength of your core to chair pose. Exhaling, releasing the hands back to the mat, and then we're going to walk the feet back to find plank pose. You could have your knees on the floor if it feels too much to have the knees lifted. We're looking for one straight line here. Core muscles engaged, lifting up and supporting your low back like a hammock. And then lowering down with control to the floor. So you could drop the knees to the floor first and lower down with knees bent. Inhaling, we're finding cobra, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Feet can be slightly separated. Turning the gaze up to the third eye point. And then tucking over the toes, we're going to find our way to downward facing dog. Inhaling, lifting the left leg, tail of the dog. Exhaling, using your core muscles to bring your knee towards your nose, placing the foot down between your hands. Now you can lift up onto your fingertips in order to create a bit of space for that to happen. Inhaling, lifting up to find crescent moon. So we're letting the hips sink and we're lengthening the sides of the body, maybe finding a gentle back bend, opening up the chest, reaching up into the fingertips. So we're going to come forwards from here into warrior 3. So you may want to bring the back foot in a little bit, maybe keep a little bend in that supporting leg. You can use any arm variation you want, or you could place your hands on the wall. Bringing the hands down to the mat, framing the front foot, stepping back into a high lunge position. We're coming into a twist. You may want to use your brick underneath the hand that's on the floor. Opening up into the right side. Bringing that hand back to the floor.
Finding your vinyasa. So that could be using upward facing dog or cobra. It's your choice. Exhaling to find the floor. Inhaling, finding your back bend. Exhaling, we're all going to meet in downward facing dog. Notice what's happened to the breath. Make sure your breath is still steady, full, mindful. Inhaling, lifting the left leg. Exhaling, placing that left foot in between your hands. Inhaling, lifting up to your crescent moon. Making sure the feet are really grounded. All four corners of the front foot, the ball of the back foot, really connected to the floor. And then using that sense of grounding down into the feet to lift up into the fingertips. And then from here, we're coming into warrior three. So perhaps stepping the back foot in a little bit. And then finding your best version of warrior three. Modifying a bit to adjust to the space around you or your body. Bringing the hands down to the floor, exhaling, back foot comes to the floor, high lunge. And then we're going to find our way to a twist. Releasing the hands to the floor. We're back to plank. And again, your choice of vinyasa. Inhaling to find your back bend. Exhaling, we're all going to meet in downward facing dog or having a little rest in child's pose if you need. And inhaling, lifting the right leg, tail of the dog. Right foot's going to come forward between your hands. Left heel is going to come to the floor. So we're grounding the whole of the foot into the floor this time. Windmilling up the arms into a warrior two. Straightening up the front leg, reaching into the front fingertips, and then bringing that hand to wherever feels appropriate for you. So that could be the thigh, it could be the shin. You could also use a brick. Prioritize stacking the shoulders one on top of the other. So we're finding an opening across the collarbones. We don't need to bring the top arm particularly far back. It's more important to just stack the arm on top of the shoulder. Releasing the hands back to the floor. Again, your choice of vinyasa, or if it would serve you better, child's pose. Inhaling, lifting the left leg, tail of the dog. Exhaling, left foot comes forwards. Finding warrior two. Adjust your feet a little bit if you need to. Come in and out a few times if you need. So sometimes it's helpful to just come in and out a little. Straightening up the front knee, reaching forwards, and again, bringing your hand to wherever feels most appropriate. Bending the front knee, windmilling the arms down. Going to find our way back to downward facing dog. And then drop the knees, resting in child's pose. So there you go. That's a nice daily practice that you can use. It shouldn't really take you much more than 10 minutes, but it uses all the different elements. And hopefully you should feel well stretched out, but also like the energy is flowing a bit more freely. Perhaps we've kind of got into some of those energy knots and allowed the energy to just flow a little more freely. So if you want to continue practicing, you're well warmed up now, so you can add on some extra poses, or do make a bit of time for Shavasana, your final relaxation. Even if it's just 2 or 3 minutes in relaxation, that really rounds off your practice perfectly and allows you to integrate all the benefits of what you've just done. So thank you for joining me today, and I shall see you soon in class.